Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profile. Waiting to be profiled are pop opera singer Krassimir and author Rita Williams. Singer Krassimir was born and raised in Bulgaria, where he was known as the Voice because of his 4-octave range. You're referred to as a male soprano. How can that be?
Well, you know, my speaking voice is very tenor and baritone.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sounds low to me.
Sounds low to you. But when I start singing, I cover 4 octaves of voice.
Did you train like that?
Actually, I had it naturally. It's God's gift, and the only thing I just had to develop it and make it stronger and more powerful.
And it's not like a tenor then. It's above a tenor.
It's above a tenor. I sing in the low notes, but sometimes when I lose, I go up above. And
how do you study? Do you study with a woman teacher, or a teacher who teaches sopranos?
Well, I did working with my maestro in Bulgaria, and then when I arrived to the United States, came Montgomery professor at UCLA. 7 years, been practicing 3 times a week.
But practicing your soprano.
Practicing the soprano, but the more you practice your low voice, the higher it is better and stronger.
But can you do it like when you're talking? Can you talk in that range?
No, I can't.
You can't talk in that
range.
What is it like a castrato from the early
days?
Well,
the castrato voice is pretty much very sound castrato, and it's very hooty and very. It's not a real voice. It's.
Oh, is it?
In my case, it's a full voice, real voice.
I see, but in castrato, it was made.
It's made, and sounds like you're in pain.
Well, is it only for Baroque music? I mean, is your voice only for Baroque music?
No, what I do is all original stuff. It's more pop and opera music. It's something between Sarah Brightman, Bocelli, George Groban, Il Divo.
Oh, and that's why you've coined the phrase pop opera artist.
Popra, yeah.
Popra.
Popra music, popra style, and it's all original pieces. Each one is created to be in a different way.
What is popra?
Popra is a combination between pop and opera, but nothing classical, something you can recognize. It's
nothing classical in the background?
No, you don't mix anything. It's just mixed combination of my operatic and pop voice.
So it's a new genre.
A new genre we're putting in the United States and the world, actually.
But has it been playing at other places in the world?
Yeah, I do travel all over the world.
But besides you, does anyone else do it?
Yeah, right now it's Il Divo.
Oh, Il Divo, right.
George Groban, Sarah Brightman.
They're called popra?
They call them popra right now. But
I see.
We developed this word like 3 years ago, and I'm glad to be part of it.
And you're doing it at the Kodak Theater.
At the Kodak Theater, May 11th.
And what is that? It's like you're heading this group of people, and it's funny because it says the United Nations is coming to the Kodak, or coming in this show, Experience Popra Krassimir.
What do we have is, I have united a lot of artists from different ethnicities, color, and nationalities. So my idea has always been putting people in peace, people for peace.
Oh, I see.
Living in this pain and suffering world, we have to. I think popra will save the world by singing and the message you want to tell. And I'm glad that I have one of the top musicians in my concert, and one of them is Briggs, the phenomenal violinist.
Oh, where is she from?
She's American.
Oh, she's American.
She's American, but she was performing with Yanni at the Acropolis, and now she's all mine. I'm not giving her for anything.
You were, in 2005, you were named at the LA Music Awards the Superstar of the Year. I mean, were you surprised to get that kind of award?
I was very shocked because they didn't tell me till the moment I got it. They said, "Oh, let's go and see some awards somebody's getting awards." Yeah, and I was on the first table. I was clapping the moment they said, "The biggest award you're getting, Superstar of the Year, is Krassimir." I was like, Oh my gosh.
Krassimir, what did you have to prove to the judges to get that award? What were you doing so that they chose you as the new superstar?
You know, my manager did, she sent my materials and stuff, and they've been following me like for 3 months, studying who is actually Krassimir and what Krassimir is doing, and so they knew everything, more than me even.
They knew. But that being superstar, I think, was an impetus for you to have this show at the Kodak, which is...
That's actually brought a lot of attention from the media. And
you have Japanese taiko drums?
Japanese taiko drums. I have stilt world. It's called stilt dancers.
Oh, stilt.
On high stilts. And we have Indian dancers. We have regular dancers, ballet dancers. It's really an amazing show, acrobats, and it's...
Do you take it someplace? Does it go other places, or is it just a once in a lifetime?
No, this is like a first show in LA. It's going to be broadcast on different channels when you go showing on HBO or PBS.
Oh, that's great.
And we're going to have a big tour this summer. I have 2 concerts in Sicily, 2 concerts in Mexico, and Russia, Bulgaria, in America, of course.
So here we are. We have you first.
Yeah.
How is your one-word name? Is it like that in Bulgaria?
Like
Krassimir, only one name?
No, I used to call by 2 names, Krassimir Avramov. They used to call me the voice.
Avramov?
Avramov.
I see. You came to America only in 1999, and did you expect Hollywood to be...
You know, it was like, first of all, being a celebrity in Eastern Europe, coming to the United States, expected everything to be the same. I expected the red carpet on the airport, Krassimir is going to America, but it wasn't like that. I started from zero. I had to just merge myself to the traditions, to the culture of America.
But you didn't know how to speak English.
I didn't even speak in English, and I decided to work something, and I decided to be a waiter in downtown. So,
how'd you even get a job?
Well, the first I got my green card, and I said I have to do something to just to be between people. So I wanted to be like a waiter, and I didn't speak in English. I got the menus. I went to Kinko's, made a lot of copies, and every client comes, I give him a copy and a pencil.
That's how you got along?
Yeah, they have to write all their
It's like the
menus.
country club. When you go to the country club, they give you a menu and you write down what you want.
That's I started this.
What did you expect to be doing, though, when you came to Hollywood? Did you think you were going to go on the stage or in the movies? Or?
Well, that's why I came to the United States. I wanted to sing to the world, and I know America is the country where you're not an immigrant. America is the country where you feel equal to everyone in this world. And everything was possible, and thank God I met the right producers, the right managers.
But how did you meet them? You didn't know where to live. The Bulgarians were embarrassed because you were such a big name.
And I left them. Yeah, but I had this.
But you were a big name in Bulgaria. When you came here, Bulgarians in America knew you were famous. And were they protecting you?
I had a following here in the United States. We put a little concert at the Cinegrill Roosevelt.
Oh, I see.
And a lot of Bulgarians showed up. Oh. And since then, a lot of things started going.
That's what I wondered, how the ball started moving for you.
But I sang to one gallery from charities, little charities. They took me to another one place, blah, blah, blah. So I had the experience to perform to many, many parties. One
of the things that, talking about this production that you're doing, you are raising money for AIDS awareness at UCLA, that center.
Right. Most of my concerts are dedicated to many different charity organizations. And this concert is focused on AIDS research UCLA. I almost lost a friend, but thank God he's HIV positive, but survived. And I mean, he's fine now, but that touched me a lot, and everywhere there's needs, I'm trying to help.
This is a CD that you just made. Will you be singing any of these songs?
The whole album is going to be sang at the Kodak Theater. It's a 60 pieces production, string orchestra, a band, a lot of different musicians in and out, big choirs supporting me, and it's going to be one of a kind.
Do you sing at different venues? I mean, do you sing on the stage just by yourself?
Sometime, yeah, it's necessary.
But is it usually a big show?
Usually I do big shows, but when there's a little charities concerts, we just alone in the city background.
The other thing that I wanted to show was this one picture of you, because this shows you on stage. It's kind of like what's behind you. Do you write your own music?
I do write my own music and the lyrics, singing in 5 different languages: Spanish, Latin, Italian, Russian.
And the other thing is, you're coining this phrase, pop opera.
Popra.
I'm saying it wrong. Have you ever sung in opera productions?
No, actually, I never had the feelings to sing for opera. Always wanted to be a pop artist, but my vocal is operetics, and so.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you think of going on the stage and sing?
Do you know? Because singing opera to me it's a little bit old-fashioned timing. We're living in the 21st century, and I think we should move on and do something completely new.
Then that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I thank you for coming and
Thank
telling
you, Joan.
us all about it.
May 11th at the
Right.
Kodak Theater, Ticketmaster.
Oh yeah, well we can't give any more plugs than that,
Yeah.
but we know how to find you.
Okay,
So thank
Krassimir.
you. Krassimir.
Thank you, Joan.
Thanks. We'll be right back with Rita Williams, the author. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm with author Rita Williams. Rita was brought up by her Aunt Daisy after her father left and her mother died. She had a very strict upbringing. Probably upbreaking too, was it? I think that's what you're going to tell us about. In the cold, rugged mountains of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Rita's acted. She's been a musician, she's been a college professor, but you found that writing suits you the best, Rita. After you graduated from California Institute of the Arts with a degree in theater, did you decide you were going to direct or act, or what was it?
I went back to Steamboat Springs and I looked around and I thought, you know, I need to go and see what I can do with what I've learned. So I went to Denver and I got a job and at the Metropolitan State College, and I taught for a while, and I got together with a couple of friends, Sharon Niederman and Mary Lee Sachs, and we started a little theater group.
Oh, I wanted to hear about that. Is that the Harpy's Bazaar?
Yes, it was. It's like Saturday Night Live meets feminism, you know.
I love the name, Harpy's Bazaar. It doesn't go together, really,
Not
does
at
it?
all. Not at all. We had a great time. We took, we were like Commedia dell'arte. We'd, you know, throw our leotards in the flats in the back of the car, and we went up to Wyoming and New Mexico and Texas.
And then just doing performances at where?
Well, the last performance we did was for the Now Convention in Houston.
Oh, you did it for groups. I was going to say, did you go to community centers and things like that?
We did a performance at the University of Wyoming.
Oh, you did?
And we also performed at a theater in Denver. But the thing that happened was that we were so... we were just in the middle of trying so many different forms. We just decided, you know, we'd see what theater could be, you know.
Were you writing the work, or was it all improv?
It was written.
It was written.
It was written.
Kind of.
Kind of, but you know, it was by no means, you know, the zoo story. If you know what I mean.
Well, at least you weren't taking yourself that seriously. You founded a children's theater, too.
Well, I should say that I co-founded it, and what ended up happening was that it didn't last a long time, but it was the same kind of principle. It was with a woman named Patricia Gall, and Patty was really just a bundle of energy, and she loved kids, and she was very, very well connected. She had she knew Lawrence Kasdan. And
Oh, she was in. You were in L.A. by that time.
By then, I was in Los Angeles.
And were you directing at Occidental College at the time?
I did a guest directing job at Occidental in the 80s. I directed a lesson from Aloes.
That was a great play, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wonderful. And the terrific thing about that play is that it's 3 people, and it's very, 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 very simple. But it was just mesmerizing. And I was lucky. I got 3 wonderful, talented people.
I was going to ask you about the cast, because you had to move them around very carefully while you were directing them.
The thing that I found is that Occidental has such an extraordinary group of students. I mean, I didn't do a lot of teaching of all the classes, but I mean, all the kids who auditioned were just brilliant.
So here you were, directing, acting. What kind of a musician were you?
Well, the truth is
Yeah.
I'm country western.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
So you sing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's but it's not opera.
But it's not your thing either right now. You want to write, I guess.
You know what I decided to do? I looked at the fact that I was in my mid-30s, and I had done some dancing, and I'd done some this, and I'd done some that, and I thought, you know what, you've got to make a decision to do one thing and get it. And I committed myself at that point to getting some material that I knew no one else was going to be doing.
Oh, but you know what? You were teaching at USC, and you were teaching or taking classes with the getting a Master of Professional Writing program, right?
What I'm doing that now.
You're doing that now.
Right now, I help other students get their.
I see.
I'm a thesis advisor there.
Oh, I see. But novel writing, you were doing writing a novel, and then you changed. You said, I decided to do something, and I think when you tell people what to do, you tell them to write about what they understand the best. And I guess that's what you did while you were writing your novel.
Well, you know, the thing that happened was I was working on the novel, and I had done this this book, If the Creek Don't Rise.
The Creek Don't Rise. I'm going to hold it because I think the cover is brilliant. It's beautiful, and it tells us about Steamboat Springs, doesn't it?
Yeah. I had done that as a series of exercises, and I hadn't really thought about it as a book. And then what happened was a friend of mine sold one of the pieces about my grandmother to Oprah Winfrey's magazine.
Oh, that's how you got into
That's how I got into it originally.
Oh, I see.
And then what happened was there was a bidding war for the book, and it was really an extraordinary thing.
Were you just writing remembrances or memoirs, and then you ended up putting them all together?
Yeah, that's basically what happened, because one of the things that I found was that there are certain things that I remember absolutely as if it was crystal. I mean, I can see the water, I can taste the chicken and smell the raspberry blossoms. And then there were parts of my background, because there was a certain amount of trauma, that I knew things had happened, but I didn't remember.
This was all while you were writing the memoir, thinking about what happened. It seemed when I started reading it, it's like a flashback almost. You go to visit your aunt.
Right.
Do you go to visit her? Well, first of all, because she says she's dying, and you say how many times has she died before?
Yeah.
Which I love, which is really great. But you come in, and then it seems after what you've just said today, you start thinking about all the things that went on in your life.
Exactly. You know, what I found was when I would go back to visit, the smell of snow.
Oh, and you said the feel.
And the sound of it, and the way that snow sounds when it hits glass would bring back other memories.
Oh, I see. Why did you feel you had to write it? You had this responsibility.
Well, what ended up happening was that my aunt ended up being one of the last Union widows.
Yes.
And she was definitely the last African-American Union widow.
Was that a big cavalry, or was it a big unit, the African-American unit during the Civil War?
It was the 123rd Colored Infantry that he would have been my uncle. And what happened was my aunt married Mr. Anderson when he was 79.
That was amazing.
And she was 21.
I know, that was amazing. And she adored him, didn't she?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was an extraordinary tale.
So did you talk? You were raised then with them.
So the thing that happened was my mother died when I was 4, and my aunt was in her 50s by then. So that's why there's this wide span, and why I can legitimately say that my uncle was a slave, although I never met him.
I see. That's where we get the slave part of it in there. But did she tell you all the things that had gone on in his life?
Yeah, she told me these really incredibly moving stories about his conflicts about being an Indian fighter.
Feeling
and
like
it was, and this is particularly difficult material when we take into account that Daisy's grandmother was Cherokee.
Oh, I see.
And, you know, when she married Mr. Anderson and found out that he was not only an ex-slave, but a Union soldier and a Buffalo soldier, that brought up some...
So he was killing the people that were in her background. Was your mother then partly that?
Yeah.
So she was
Cherokee, because my mother was Daisy's baby sister.
Yeah, that's what I thought when you were saying. So that's your background as well.
That's right. That's
we
right.
come to one part when we meet America Marshall. I love that name, America.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Was that a turning point in your life?
Oh, absolutely. Because one of the things that I struggled with for a very long time was the fact that I knew that I was angry.
Oh.
And
well, you were alone.
Yeah. But no matter what, nobody likes an angry woman, you know. And I was angry, and I saw my aunt being angry, and I knew that was that it was as tricky. It was nuclear material, nuclear in the sense of the nucleus of a cell, and nuclear in terms of nuclear explosion. And I knew that the core question in my life was going to be what I would do with my anger.
Oh.
I knew that.
But she was very strict, and she had certain ways of wanting to raise you.
Right.
So that was a problem too, I guess.
But the thing that happened when I met America, I saw this woman who was so serene.
That's what you said.
And was so loving, and she had gone through all of the difficult things that we had seen, and somehow she had found a way to not be destroyed by her own anger.
She had, as you quote, ordered peace.
Yeah.
Or everything in order.
Yeah.
And you said she always had a flower.
Yeah.
Something beautiful.
And what was amazing was that America knew how to look at something that somebody else would see as a weed.
Oh, right. That's
and put it in a simple glass, and it was like you would see it in a new way.
Well, how did you learn those things? You just observed them?
I just watched. You know, I was one big set of eyes. I watched everything. I watched everybody.
Do you see a movie coming out of this book?
Well, I hope so.
Have you pre-thought anybody who could play these roles?
Oh, certainly.
Oh, good. Let's hear.
I would love to see Alfre Woodard play Daisy.
Auntie Daisy.
Yeah. I would love to see Halle Berry play Rita. I would love to see that.
Rita, because she starts young and goes all the way up,
and
right?
because Halle Berry has that wonderful versatility.
And that yes.
And she's also she could do the dance. You know, she could do the dance.
Right.
And the dance is so important.
Do we have men in here?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could see Matthew McConaughey play Slim McCormick.
I'm glad you got this all
I
done.
mean, I've definitely thought about it.
Okay, so we have a movie here. What about the novel? Are we back on our novel roll again?
We are, and we're also thinking about a sequel to the memoir. Because
Really?
I have had no end of people come up to me and go, well, what happened after she got to college? And, you know, what happened is I was very surprised because I thought, oh, God, it was just enough to get her, you know, to college.
But
And
how
then-
did you find California Institute of the Arts? How did you find that place?
Well, I finally, when I got to college, I got a scholarship in theater.
Oh.
And I graduated with a degree in German and theater.
Oh, I see.
And I was in a production, and then I graduated from, I got my bachelor's, and then I was at the University of Denver doing graduate work, and somebody had a brochure in the dressing room when I was doing a play. And I read the brochure about the California Institute of the Arts Theater, and I knew that was exactly what I'd always wanted.
I see. Who was in the department then when you were there?
Well, at the time, it was Herb Blau.
Oh, yes. They brought him
Yeah.
from for the
Right.
stage.
And his wife, Bea Manley, and Herbert Marcuse was there, and it was really an extraordinary time. Michael Richards was one of the people who is now Kramer.
Right,
you know,
right.
He was one of my classmates, and Paul Rubens.
That had you really were there at a prime time. The theater, the
Absolutely.
dance,
Yeah,
the art
yeah,
department.
Yeah.
They were all
Bella
blossoming.
Lewitsky was head of the dance
Yeah,
school.
Bella was there. Yeah, she was
Judy
wonderful.
Chicago. I mean, it was astonishing. It was just explosive.
So these are all your crossovers. Well, we're
Yeah.
going to look for the next memoir.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Rita Williams, for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. See you next time.